So in this vlog, I want to share with you something that I experienced recently. So in the past, whenever I've gone to events that where there are mostly hearing people, like for example, my son and daughter are on soccer and basketball teams, and whenever I would go to their games, of course it was mostly hearing people, and I was the only deaf person, or maybe one of 2 or 3 deaf people if it was a big event. And so then whenever a hearing person would come up to me and try to communicate with me, I would just gesture and try to communicate to them that I was deaf, I couldn't hear, and then they would just, run off without ever trying to communicate with me. And it was really frustrating because whenever people would find out that I'm deaf, they wouldn't talk to me, and so a lot of times I was alone at these events, and it was frustrating, and I just had to get used to it. But then I had an idea of a way that I could try to communicate with people instead of scaring them off right at the beginning when they found out I was deaf. Just try to communicate with them. So my son was on a basketball team, and I decided to go to one of his practices. And I walked right up to the coach, and I took out a pen and paper and just started talking to him, and I said, my son is on the team, and I would love to be able to help out if he would let me. I've had past experience with basketball, and I'm really comfortable, and I would love to be able to help with, giving advice in whatever way I could. And so I did. I started coming to practices and helping out, and if I ever wanted to say something, I would just tap somebody on the shoulder and write them a note and help them with their form when they were shooting a basket or passing the ball back and forth to each other. And it worked really well. I was able to talk to people and communicate what I was thinking, and they talked back to me. And the results were really great, and I was really pleased with it. And I noticed 2 things from this approach. The first thing I noticed was that when I communicated in this way, when I chose to just talk to people instead of just telling them, oh, I'm deaf, I can't hear, and letting them be afraid of that, then they would treat me as an equal. If I just talked to them whatever way that I could, then they would talk back and they would respect me and treat me as an equal. And that really meant a lot, because in the past they had never done that. I never felt like I was respected. So that felt really good to have that change. And the second thing I noticed was using this way to communicate with the kids on the team, it worked really well. I could talk to them about plays or just whatever, and it worked. I could communicate clearly, and they understood everything I was trying to say, and I'd never experienced that either before. Whenever they found out I was deaf, we never talked, and then we were never able to understand each other, and that changed too, and that felt really good. So I'm curious if any of you guys out there have experienced this, if you've in the past made it a point to try to communicate with people and not let them be afraid of your being deaf. And I want to know how you guys have experienced this. And if you haven't tried anything like this before, I encourage you to do it, and then get back to me and let me know, because I would love to hear your guys' comments. Thanks.